The outcast's kindness. In the bustling spaceport of Nexus Prime, where 1,000 alien species mingled in a cacophony of sounds and smells, young Eli Carter felt more alone than ever. At just 16 years old, he was the only human on this remote outpost, light years away from Earth. His parents, renowned xenobiologists, had brought him here 3 years ago, promising adventure and discovery. Instead, Eli found himself an outcast, tolerated but never truly accepted by the alien inhabitants. Ellie's lanky frame and mop of unruly brown hair made him stand out like a sore thumb among the various tentacled, scaled, and multi-limbed beings that called Nexus Prime home. As he made his way through the crowded marketplace, he could feel the stares and hear the whispers. Some were curious, others dismissive, and a few outright hostile. "Look at the fleshy one," a gelatinous blob being gurgled to its companion. "So fragile, so inefficient. How did they ever make it to the stars?" Eli gritted his teeth and pressed on, his eyes fixed on the ground. He was used to such comments by now, but they still stung. Humans were newcomers to the galactic stage, and many older species looked down on them as primitive upstarts. As he rounded a corner into a less populated alley, Ellie's attention was drawn to a hunched figure huddled in the shadows. At first, he thought it might be a pile of discarded rags, but then he saw it move. Approaching cautiously, he realized it was an alien, one he'd never seen before. The creature was vaguely humanoid, with 4 arms and iridescent scales that seemed to shimmer even in the dim light. But what struck Eli most were its eyes, large, luminous, and filled with a profound sadness that transcended species barriers. Without thinking, Eli reached into his pocket and pulled out the nutrient bar he'd been saving for lunch. He held it out to the alien, who regarded him with surprise and suspicion. "Here," Eli said softly. "You look like you could use this more than me." The alien hesitated, then reached out with a trembling hand to take the offering. As their fingers brushed, Eli felt a jolt of something. A connection, a flash of shared understanding. "Thank you, young one," the alien said in a voice that sounded like wind chimes. "Your kindness is unexpected." Eli shrugged, feeling suddenly self-conscious. "It's nothing. I know what it's like to be alone in a strange place." The alien's eyes seemed to bore into him, as if seeing beyond his physical form. "Perhaps not as alone as you think, Eli Carter of Earth." Eli started. "How do you know my name?" But before the alien could answer, a commotion erupted at the entrance to the alley. A group of Zenithian guards, instantly recognizable by their imposing exoskeletons and multifaceted eyes, came charging in. "Step away from the fugitive human," the lead guard bellowed, brandishing a crackling energy weapon. Eli instinctively moved to shield the alien. "Wait, what's going on? This person hasn't done anything wrong." The Zenithian's mandibles clicked in agitation. "That person is a wanted criminal. Stand aside, or you'll be arrested for aiding and abetting." Ellie's mind raced. He looked back at the alien, who met his gaze with a mixture of fear and resignation. In that moment, Eli made a decision that would change the course of his life and the fate of the galaxy. "Run," he shouted, grabbing the alien's hand and bolting down the alley. They raced through a maze of back streets and service corridors, Ellie's knowledge of Nexus Prime's layout giving them a slight edge over their pursuers. The alien kept pace surprisingly well for someone who had seemed so frail moments ago. As they rounded a corner, Eli spotted a maintenance hatch leading to the station's vast network of service tunnels. He yanked it open and ushered the alien inside, following close behind and sealing the hatch just as the sound of pursuing footsteps echoed down the corridor. In the dim emergency lighting of the tunnel, Eli turned to his companion, breathing heavily. "Okay," he panted. "I think we lost them for now. But you've got some explaining to do. Who are you, and why are the Zenithians after you?" The alien seemed to slump, the shimmering scales losing some of their luster. "My name is Lyra," she said softly, "and I was, the Queen of the Stellar Concordat." Ellie's jaw dropped. The Stellar Concordat was one of the most powerful alliances in the known galaxy, comprising dozens of advanced spacefaring civilizations, and he had just shared his lunch with their queen. But, Hal, why are you here like this? Eli stammered. Lyra's eyes clouded with pain. Betrayal, young one. My own advisors, corrupted by promises of power from the Zenithian Empire, staged a coup. They sought to dissolve the Concordat and pledge allegiance to the Zenithians, who have long coveted our resources and technology. Ellie's mind reeled. He had always known that galactic politics were complex, but this was beyond anything he could have imagined. So the Zenithians are the bad guys. Lyra shook her head. It is not so simple. The Zenithians believe they are bringing order and progress to a chaotic galaxy. But their methods are harsh, and they brook no opposition. If they succeed in absorbing the Concordat, the balance of power will shift dramatically. Many worlds, including your Earth, could find themselves under Zenithian rule. A chill ran down Ellie's spine. He thought of his parents, of the home he'd left behind. What can we do? Lyra regarded him with a mixture of hope and sadness. You have already done more than I could have asked, Eli Carter. You showed kindness to a stranger when all others turned away. But this is not your fight. Eli straightened, feeling a surge of determination he hadn't known he possessed. Maybe not, but it's the right fight. And if Earth is in danger, then it is my fight. I want to help. For the first time, a smile graced Lyra's alien features. Then perhaps there is hope yet. But know this, the path ahead will be dangerous. We will face enemies more powerful than you can imagine, and the fate of countless worlds may rest on our actions. Eli nodded, a knot of fear and excitement forming in his stomach. I understand. So, what's our next move, Your Majesty? Lyra's expression turned serious. First, we must find a way off this station. I have allies scattered throughout the sector, but we must reach them before the Zenithians tighten their net. And Eli, thank you. Your compassion may have just saved more lives than you know. As they began to make their way through the labyrinthine service tunnels, Eli couldn't help but marvel at the turn his life had taken. Just this morning, he had been a lonely outcast. Now he was a fugitive, an ally to an alien queen, and possibly the only thing standing between Earth and Zenithian domination. For the first time in years, Eli felt truly alive. He didn't know what challenges lay ahead, but he was certain of one thing. He would face them with all the determination and ingenuity that humanity had to offer. The galaxy might look down on humans now, but Eli Carter was about to show them what his species was truly capable of. As they reached a junction in the tunnels, Lyra suddenly froze. Her scales rippled with an alarming intensity, and her eyes widened. We're not alone, she whispered. Eli tensed, scanning the shadows. At first, he saw nothing. Then, a pair of glowing eyes emerged from the darkness, followed by another and another. They were surrounded. Well, a silky voice purred. What have we here? A deposed queen and her little human pet. How quaint. A figure stepped into the light, and Eli had to stifle a gasp. It was a Zenithian, but unlike any he had seen before. Where the guards had been all hard angles and armored plating, this one was sleek and sinuous, with an almost feline grace. Its exoskeleton shimmered with an oily iridescence, and its eyes glowed with cunning intelligence. Valix, Lyra hissed, her voice filled with a mixture of fear and loathing. I should have known you'd be behind this. The Zenithian Valix spread its arms in a mocking gesture of welcome. Come now, your former majesty. Is that any way to greet an old friend? After all, I'm here to escort you to your new home. The Zenithian High Council is most eager to discuss the future of the Concordat with you. Ellie's mind raced. They were outnumbered and outgunned. But maybe, just maybe, they weren't outsmarted. He inched his hand towards a control panel on the wall, praying his knowledge of the station's systems would be enough. Sorry, Eli said, trying to keep his voice steady. But we've got other plans. With that, he slammed his hand down on the panel. Alarms blared, and emergency force fields sprang to life, separating them from Valix and his troops. It wouldn't hold them for long, but it might buy them enough time. "Run," Eli shouted, grabbing Lyra's hand once again. As they sprinted down the tunnel, the sound of Valix's enraged howl echoing behind them, Eli couldn't help but grin. Maybe humans weren't the most advanced species in the galaxy, but they sure knew how to improvise. The chase was on, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. But for Eli Carter, the human boy who had dared to show kindness to a stranger, it was just the beginning of an adventure beyond his wildest dreams. Unraveling secrets. As Eli and Queen Lyra raced through the labyrinthine tunnels of Nexus Prime, the station's emergency klaxons blared, drowning out the sounds of their pursuers. Ellie's heart pounded in his chest, a mixture of fear and exhilaration coursing through his veins. He had never imagined that his ordinary day would turn into a high-stakes intergalactic chase. "Quick, this way," Eli shouted, tugging Lyra towards a narrow maintenance shaft. "I think I know a way to the lower docks." Lyra's iridescent scales shimmered with each movement as she followed the young human. "Ellie, your knowledge of this station is impressive. How did you come by such information?" Eli grinned sheepishly as they squeezed through the tight passage. "Let's just say being the outcast kid gives you a lot of free time to explore, and maybe hack into a system or two." As they emerged into a dimly lit cargo bay, Lyra's expression turned serious. "Your skills may have saved our lives, young one, but I fear we have only delayed the inevitable. Valix and his Zenithian forces will not rest until they have captured us." Ellie's mind raced, processing the gravity of their situation. "Okay, so we need a plan. And a ship. Preferably something fast and with a decent cloaking system." Lyra's eyes widened in surprise. "You know of cloaking technology? I was under the impression that humans had not yet developed such capabilities." "We haven't," Ellie admitted. "But that doesn't mean I haven't studied every bit of alien tech I could get my hands on. Knowledge is power, right?" A sound from above made them both freeze. The metallic clang of Zenithian exoskeletons echoed through the cargo bay. They were running out of time. "There," Eli whispered, pointing to a sleek, bird-like vessel tucked away in a shadowy corner. "That's a Sylphid stealth courier. It's perfect." As they approached the ship, Lyra hesitated. "Ellie, I cannot ask you to come with me. The danger is too great, and you have already risked so much." Eli turned to face the alien queen, his expression determined. "With all due respect, Your Majesty, I'm already in this up to my neck. Besides, Earth is in danger too. I'm not backing out now." Lyra studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Very well. Your courage does your species credit, Eli Carter. Now, let us hope your technical skills extend to piloting." As they boarded the Sylphid courier, Ellie's fingers flew over the control panel, bypassing security protocols with a mix of educated guesses and sheer audacity. The ship hummed to life just as the first Zenithian troops burst into the cargo bay. "Hold on," Eli shouted, punching the throttle. The Sylphid shot forward, its anti-gravity engines screaming as it weaved through the maze of cargo containers. Energy bolts from Zenithian weapons sizzled past, missing them by inches. With a final burst of speed, they cleared the bay doors and plunged into the inky blackness of space. As Nexus Prime receded behind them, Eli let out a whoop of triumph. "We did it. We actually did it." Lyra's relief was palpable, but short-lived. "We have escaped the station, yes, but our journey has only begun. We must reach my allies before Valix can rally the full might of the Zenithian fleet." Eli nodded, sobering quickly. "Right. So, where to?" "Set a course for the Whispering Nebula," Lyra instructed. "There is a hidden outpost there, home to a group known as the Cosmic Weavers. If anyone can help us turn the tide against the Zenithians, it's them." As Eli programmed the coordinates, a thought struck him. Cosmic Weavers. I've never heard of them. Lyra's expression turned enigmatic. "Few have. They are keepers of ancient knowledge, masters of technologies long thought lost. Some say they can manipulate the very fabric of space-time itself. Ellie's eyes widened. Whoa, that sounds intense. Are you sure they'll help us? I'm sure of nothing, Lyra admitted, but we have few options left. The Weavers have long stood apart from galactic politics, but even they cannot ignore the threat the Zenithians pose. As the Sylphid courier accelerated to faster-than-light speeds, Ely found himself staring out at the star-streaked vista before them. Just days ago, his greatest concern had been avoiding bullies in the Nexus Prime marketplace. Now, he was embarking on a quest to save the galaxy with an alien queen. Your Majesty, Ely began hesitantly. Can I ask you something? Lyra turned her luminous eyes to him. Of course, Ely. And please call me Lyra. Formalities seem rather pointless given our circumstances. Ely nodded, gathering his thoughts. Back on the station, you said the Zenithians believe they're bringing order to a chaotic galaxy. What did you mean by that? Lyra sighed, her scales dimming slightly. The Zenithians are complicated. They are not evil, not in the way your stories might portray villains. They truly believe their actions serve a greater good. But how can subjugating other species be good? Ely asked, frowning. Imagine, Lyra explained, a galaxy teeming with life, with countless civilizations rising and falling, warring and making peace. Now imagine a species that has achieved a level of technological and social advancement far beyond the others. They look out at the chaos of the cosmos and think, we can fix this. We can bring stability, end conflicts, usher in an era of unprecedented progress. Ely considered this. So they see themselves as, what, galactic peacekeepers? In a sense, Lyra nodded. But their version of peace comes at the cost of freedom. They believe that only through unity, under their rule, can the galaxy truly prosper. And they are willing to go to great lengths to achieve this vision. As Ely processed this information, a proximity alert blared from the ship's console. His heart sank as he saw the readings. Ah, Lyra, we've got company. Big company. Looming before them was a massive Zenithian warship, its hull bristling with weapons. It dwarfed their tiny courier, blotting out the stars with its immense bulk. Impossible, Lyra breathed. They couldn't have tracked us through hyperspace. Ellie's mind raced, scanning the ship's systems for answers. Then he saw it, a tiny anomaly in the engine output. They didn't track us, he realized. They bugged us. There's a tracker in the engine core. Before Lyra could respond, the warship's communications array lit up. A familiar, silky voice filled the courier's cabin. My dear Lyra, Valix purred. Did you really think it would be that easy to escape? I must say, I'm disappointed. I expected better from the great queen of the stellar Concordat. Ellie's hands hovered over the controls, every muscle tense. What do we do? He whispered. Lyra's eyes narrowed, her regal bearing returning in full force. We do what any cornered animal does, Ely. We fight. With that, she reached over and grabbed the ship's controls, sending them into a steep dive. The Sylphid courier plunged towards the swirling gases of a nearby nebula, with the Zenithian warship in hot pursuit. As energy beams lanced past them and the ship bucked under the strain, Ely couldn't help but grin. This was it, humanity's first real foray into a galactic conflict. And he, Ely Carter, the outcast kid from Nexus Prime, was right in the middle of it. Hang on, Valix, he muttered, fingers flying over the weapons console. You're about to learn why you don't underestimate humans. The nebula enveloped them, a riot of color and swirling gases, and within its cosmic depths, the battle for the fate of the galaxy began in earnest. The Cosmic Weaver's Gambit. The Sylphid courier emerged from the swirling chaos of the nebula, its hull scorched and systems barely functioning. Ellie's hands were cramped from gripping the controls, his face streaked with sweat and grime. Beside him, Lyra's scales had lost much of their luster, but her eyes burned with fierce determination. I can't believe we made it, Ely breathed, checking the rear scanners. That trick with the plasma vortex was incredible. Lyra allowed herself a small smile. An old Concordat military tactic. I'm glad to see it still works against Zenithian technology. As the adrenaline of their narrow escape began to fade, Eli took stock of their situation. The ship was damaged, their supplies were low, and they were still far from their destination. But they were alive, and the Zenithians had lost their trail, for now. We should reach the Cosmic Weaver's outpost in approximately 6 hours, Lyra announced, studying the nav computer. Provided our fuel cells hold out. Eli nodded, then hesitated. Lyra, what exactly are we going to find there? You mentioned they have access to lost technologies, but what does that mean? Lyra's expression turned thoughtful. The Cosmic Weavers are difficult to explain. They are scientists, mystics, and explorers all at once. They seek to understand the fundamental nature of reality itself. Like quantum physicists, Eli asked. In a sense, Lyra replied, but where your scientists theorize, the Weavers manipulate. They can bend the laws of physics, create pocket dimensions, even alter the flow of time itself. Ellie's eyes widened. That's impossible, isn't it? Lyra fixed him with a penetrating gaze. Ellie, you are about to learn that the universe is far stranger and more wondrous than you can imagine. The Weavers operate on a level that most species can scarcely comprehend. As if on cue, the ship's sensors began to ping wildly. Eli looked out the view screen and gasped. The stars were moving, shifting and swirling like a cosmic whirlpool. What's happening? He asked, a note of panic in his voice. Lyra remained calm. We've entered Weaver space. Reality here is fluid. Prepare yourself, Ellie. What you're about to experience may challenge everything you think you know. The Sylphic courier was caught in the stellar maelstrom, pulled inexorably towards its center. Colors Eli had never seen before flashed across his vision. He felt his body stretching and compressing, as if reality itself was being folded around him. And then suddenly, stillness. They emerged into a vast, impossibly geometric space. Structures that defied Euclidean logic floated in a void that seemed to pulse with living energy. At the center of it all was a massive crystalline construct that hurt Ellie's eyes to look at directly. Welcome, Lara said softly, to the nexus of probability. As they approached the central structure, Eli saw movement, figures that seemed to phase in and out of existence, leaving trails of quantum possibilities in their wake. The Cosmic Weavers. Their ship was enveloped in a beam of pure thought, guiding them to a docking bay that unfolded from nothing. As they disembarked, Eli felt a presence in his mind, not invasive, but vast and ancient. They're scanning us, Lyra explained, assessing our intentions. Before Eli could respond, a figure materialized before them. It was vaguely humanoid, but its form shifted constantly, as if it couldn't decide on a single shape. When it spoke, its voice resonated directly in Ellie's mind. Queen Elwali of the Concordat, Eli Sata of Earth, your coming Goliath Foesein, yet Ian expecteeti, a PAIUX, fascinating. Eli swallowed hard. Hello. We've come to ask for your help. The Zenithians. Yes, the Weaver interrupted. VZNITINCONVAGNCE, a PROBA NEXUS of Great Psy Come, that Keu and Sile await tears. They were led through corridors that seemed to rearrange themselves as they walked, eventually emerging into a vast chamber. Here, dozens of Weavers hovered in a circle, their forms merging and separating in a hypnotic dance. One Weaver, larger than the rest, addressed them. We AKVEOBSAOVE HESHF Tang Tides of PROBA Bailai. The ZNITAINPATLEDS to stagnation, a HEATF of creativity and it furry whale. Yet, their HFY inevitable. Lyra stepped forward. Nothing is inevitable. That's why we've come. We need your help to stop the Zenithians before they absorb the Concordat and set their sights on the rest of the galaxy. The weavers pulsed with energy, communicating in a language beyond Ailey's comprehension. Finally, the lead weaver spoke again. We cannot intervene directly. The cosmic balance must be maintained, but we can offer you a tool, a weapon of last resort. A small crystalline object materialized in the center of the chamber. It pulsed with an inner light that seemed to draw Ailey's gaze. The probability shard, the weaver explained. It contains the power to reality, reality of itself, to setting the very fabric of space-time. But its use comes at a great cost. The user must sacrifice that which they hold most dear. Eli and Lyra exchanged glances. The implications were staggering and terrifying. How do we use it? Eli asked, his voice barely above a whisper. That, young human, you must discover for yourself. The shard already responds to will and intuition. But remember, every action has consequences. So choose wisely. As Lyra reached out to take the shard, alarms blared throughout the complex. The weaver's forms flickered with agitation. Impossible, the lead weaver intoned. The Zenithins have breached our defenses. They should not be able to track you here. Ellie's mind raced. The tracker. It must have transmitted our location before we destroyed it. The chamber shook as explosions rocked the station. Through gaps in the quantum field, Eli could see Zenithian warships approaching. You must go, the lead weaver urged, its form becoming more solid as it expended vast amounts of energy. We will hold them off as long as we can. The fate of the galaxy now rests in your hands. Lyra clutched the probability shard close as she and Eli raced back to their ship. As they prepared for emergency launch, Eli saw cosmic weavers engaging the Zenithian forces. Reality itself seemed to warp and twist as the two sides clashed. This is all my fault, Eli said, his voice thick with guilt. If I had found the tracker sooner. No time for self-recrimination, Lyra cut him off. We have the shard. Now we must find a way to use it before the Zenithians overrun everything. As their ship shot out of the disintegrating Weaver station, Ellie's mind whirled with possibilities. They had a weapon that could rewrite reality itself, but at what cost? And how could they possibly hope to stand against the might of the entire Zenithian Empire? The answers, Eli realized, might lie in the most unlikely place of all, in the unique perspective and ingenuity of humanity itself. As they plotted a course for Earth, Eli knew that the greatest challenge of his life, and perhaps the fate of the entire galaxy, lay ahead. The probability shard pulsed in Lyra's hands, a reminder of the awesome power and responsibility they now carried. The next move in this cosmic chess game would determine the future of countless worlds, and somehow, improbably, it all rested on the shoulders of a human boy and an exiled alien queen. As they jumped to hyperspace, Eli couldn't help but smile grimly. If the Zenithians thought humans were primitive and weak, they were in for one hell of a surprise. Humanity's quantum leap. The Sylphid courier dropped out of hyperspace in a flash of quantum distortion, the blue marble of Earth looming large in the view screen. Eli felt a surge of emotion at the sight of his homeworld, a mix of nostalgia and trepidation. I never thought I'd be coming back like this, he murmured. Lyra placed a comforting hand on his shoulder, her scales shimmering with empathy. Your world is beautiful, Eli. I understand now why you fight so fiercely to protect it. As they began their descent into Earth's atmosphere, The probability shard pulsed with increasing intensity. Its crystalline structure seemed to resonate with the planet's unique energy signature. "It's reacting to something," Eli observed. "But what?" Before Lyra could respond, the ship's comm system crackled to life. A stern voice filled the cabin. "Unidentified vessel, you have entered restricted Earth airspace. Identify yourself immediately or face interception." Ellie's eyes widened. "Earth has space defenses now." "When did that happen?" "Much can change in 3 years, young one," Lyra reminded him. "Especially for a species on the brink of galactic emergence." Thinking quickly, Eli opened a channel. "This is Eli Carter, Earth Citizen ID 10,305-87B. I'm traveling with a diplomatic envoy. We need to speak with your leadership immediately. It's a matter of galactic security." There was a long pause before the voice returned. "Verified. Follow the transmitted coordinates to our secure facility. Any deviation will be treated as hostile action." As they followed the guidance beam, Eli saw the landscape below shifting. Urban sprawl gave way to vast, gleaming structures that seemed to blend seamlessly with the natural environment. Towering arcologies reached for the sky, their surfaces alive with bioluminescent patterns. "This isn't the Earth I left," Eli whispered in awe. They were directed to land on a platform jutting out from a massive, translucent dome. As they disembarked, they were met by a contingent of guards in sleek, powered armor. Leading them was a woman whose very presence exuded authority. "I am Director Chen of Earth's Unified Space Command," she announced crisply. "You claim to bring news of galactic importance. Speak quickly." Lyra stepped forward, her regal bearing causing even the hardened soldiers to take notice. "I am Queen Lyra of the Stellar Concordat. Your world stands on the brink of a crisis that threatens not just Earth, but the entire galaxy." Director Chen's eyes narrowed. "We are aware of the Zenithian threat, Your Majesty. What we lack is a means to counter their technological superiority." Eli couldn't contain himself any longer. "That's why we're here. We have a weapon, something that could change everything, but we need Earth's help to use it." Chen's gaze shifted to Ellie, a flicker of recognition in her eyes. "Eli Carter, your parents' research was instrumental in our recent leaps forward. They'll be relieved to know you're alive." Ellie's heart skipped a beat. "My parents are here." "All in due time," Chen replied. "First, tell me about this weapon." As they were led into the facility, Lyra explained the nature of the probability shard and the warning given by the cosmic weavers. Chen listened intently, her expression unreadable. "A device that can rewrite reality," she mused. "The potential applications are staggering, but so are the risks." They entered a vast chamber filled with holographic displays and bustling with activity. Scientists and military personnel worked side by side, monitoring streams of data and running simulations. "Welcome to Nexus Control," Chen announced. "Earth's first line of defense against extraterrestrial threats." Ellie's attention was drawn to a familiar face among the crowd. Mom, Dad. Dr. Sarah and Michael Carter looked up from their workstation, their eyes widening in disbelief. In moments, Eli found himself enveloped in a tearful embrace. "We thought we'd lost you," Sarah choked out. "When Nexus Prime went dark, we feared the worst," Michael added. Eli pulled back, his mind reeling. "Wait, what do you mean went dark?" Chen's voice cut through the reunion. "Nexus Prime fell to the Zenithians 2 days ago. We've been monitoring the situation, but our intel is limited." The news hit Eli like a physical blow. All those people, all those diverse species he'd grown up with, gone. Lyra's voice was grim. "Then we have even less time than I feared. The Zenithians will not stop with Nexus Prime. They will push outward, absorbing or destroying everything in their path." Chen nodded. "Which is why we need to understand this probability shard. Dr. Carter, I believe your expertise in quantum mechanics and xenobiology will be crucial here." As Ely's parents began examining the shard, he felt a surge of pride. This was why he'd always been drawn to alien cultures and technology. It was in his blood. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. A technician called out, "Director, we're detecting multiple quantum ruptures in near-Earth orbit." The main view screen flickered to life, showing a terrifying sight. A fleet of Zenithian warships was emerging from hyperspace, their sleek forms bristling with weaponry. "How did they find us so quickly?" Ely exclaimed. Lyra's expression was grim. "They must have followed the shard's unique energy signature. We've led them straight to Earth." Chen barked out orders, mobilizing Earth's defenses. But Ely could see the fear in her eyes. They were outgunned and outmatched. In that moment, the probability shard began to pulse with blinding intensity. It levitated from the examination table, drawing everyone's attention. "It's responding to the threat," Sarah Carter breathed. "It's offering a solution." Michael nodded, his eyes wide with realization. Of course. The shard doesn't just rewrite reality, it finds the optimal probability stream and makes it manifest. Ely stepped forward, drawn to the shard's pulsing light. "So we can use it to stop the Zenithians." "Potentially," Lyra cautioned. "But remember the Weaver's warning. Using the shard comes at a great cost." As if in response, the shard projected a series of quantum equations into the air. Ellie's parents gasped in unison. "It's beautiful," Sarah whispered. "A unified theory of everything." Michael's voice was filled with awe. "With this, we could revolutionize our technology. Advance centuries in a matter of days." Chen's eyes gleamed with possibility. "Enough to stand against the Zenithians." "More than that," Lyra interjected. "Enough to change the very nature of the conflict." Ely looked from the shard to the approaching Zenithian fleet, then back to his parents and Lyra. In that moment, he understood what had to be done. "I know how to use it," he said softly. "I know what it wants." All eyes turned to him as he reached out to grasp the probability shard. Its light enveloped him, and he felt the weight of infinite possibilities pressing down on his consciousness. "Ely, wait," his mother cried out. "We don't know what it will do to you." But Ellie's mind was made up. He thought of Nexus Prime, of the countless beings who had shown him kindness. He thought of Earth, of humanity's potential to grow beyond its limitations. And he thought of Lyra, who had trusted a strange human boy with the fate of the galaxy. "Sometimes," he said, his voice resonating with newfound power, "you have to take a leap of faith." With that, Ely Carter embraced the full power of the probability shard. Reality itself seemed to bend around him as he rewrote the very laws of physics. In that moment, he glimpsed the truth of existence, the interconnectedness of all things, the power of choice and consequence. As the Zenithian fleet closed in, prepared to rain destruction upon the Earth, a blinding light erupted from Nexus control. It expanded outward, enveloping the planet, the invading ships, and beyond. When it faded, the universe would never be the same, and humanity's role in the cosmic drama was about to change dramatically. The quantum renaissance. As the blinding light from the probability shard faded, an eerie silence fell over Nexus control. Ely Carter stood at the center, his form shimmering with residual quantum energy. The assembled humans and aliens alike stared in awe at the transformation before them. Ellie's eyes, now swirling with fractal patterns, surveyed the room. When he spoke, his voice resonated with newfound power and understanding. "It's done," he said simply. Director Chen was the first to recover her composure. "What's done? What did you do, Ely?" Before he could answer, the main view screen flickered to life. The Zenithian fleet still hung in Earth's orbit, but something was different. The ships were changing, their sleek, aggressive forms morphing into something more organic, more harmonious with the space around them. Lyra gasped, her scales shimmering with excitement. "Incredible. He's rewritten their very nature." Ely nodded, a small smile playing on his lips. "Not just theirs, everyone's, everything's." As if on cue, the comm system crackled to life. The voice that came through was familiar, yet changed, softer, filled with wonder rather than menace. "This is Admiral Valix of the Zenithian Exploration Corps. We request permission to open diplomatic channels with Earth. We come in peace and curiosity." A collective gasp went up from the assembled crowd. Chen turned to Ellie, her eyes wide with disbelief. How is this possible? Ellie's parents stepped forward, their scientific minds already racing to understand the implications. Sarah spoke first, her voice filled with awe. "The probability shard, it didn't just change our reality, it optimized it." Michael nodded, continuing the thought. "It found the quantum state where conflict was minimized and cooperation maximized. It's beautiful." Eli smiled at his parents, feeling a surge of pride and love. That's part of it, but there's more, so much more. He turned to address the room at large, his voice taking on a tone of authority that belied his young age. "The shard didn't just rewrite our present. It rewrote our past, our future, the very fabric of space-time itself. But it did it in a way that preserved free will, that maintained the essence of who we all are." Lyra stepped forward, her eyes searching Eli's face. "You've become something more than human, haven't you?" Eli nodded. "And less. I'm a conduit now. A bridge between what was and what could be. The shard's power flows through me, allowing for constant, subtle adjustments to maintain this new optimized reality." Director Chen's tactical mind was already racing with the implications. "So the Zenithians are no longer conquerors," Eli finished for her. "Their drive for order and unity remains, but now it's channeled into exploration and peaceful cooperation. They want to learn, to grow, to join with other species rather than subjugate them." As if to confirm his words, the view screen showed Zenithian ships extending docking bridges to Earth's orbital stations. Alien and human alike were greeting each other with open arms and minds. But Eli wasn't finished. With a wave of his hand, holographic displays sprang to life around the room, showing scenes from across the galaxy. "The changes extend far beyond Earth and the Zenithians," he explained. "Look." They saw the stellar Concordat, now a thriving hub of interspecies cooperation. The cosmic weavers, emerging from their hidden enclaves to share their knowledge openly. Countless worlds that had been on the brink of war or environmental collapse, now flourishing in a new age of enlightenment. "This is the dawn of a new era," Eli proclaimed. "The quantum renaissance. An age where science and spirituality, technology and nature, individual and community all exist in harmonious balance." The implications were staggering. Diseases cured, hunger eliminated, faster than light travel made commonplace. The great mysteries of the universe laid bare, ready to be explored and understood. But amidst the wonder and excitement, Lyra noticed something in Ellie's eyes, a hint of sadness, of sacrifice. "Ellie," she said softly, "what was the cost?" The weavers warned that using the shard would require a great sacrifice. Ellie's smile turned bittersweet. "The cost was my humanity. At least humanity as I knew it. I'm no longer just Eli Carter. I'm something in between. A quantum being, existing in all possibilities at once, forever maintaining this new reality." His parents rushed to embrace him, tears in their eyes as they realized the full extent of their son's sacrifice. Eli had them back, his form flickering slightly as if struggling to maintain corporeal form. "Don't be sad," he reassured them. "This is a gift, a chance to be part of something greater than myself. And I'm not gone. I'm everywhere, always." Director Chen, ever practical, stepped forward. "What happens now? How do we navigate this new reality?" Ellie's eyes twinkled with mystery and promise. Now the real adventure begins. We have a whole new universe to explore, full of wonders we've only begun to imagine. And humanity, with its unique blend of curiosity, creativity, and determination, will be at the forefront. He turned to Lyra, extending a hand that shimmered with quantum possibility. "Will you join us?" All of you? There's so much to discover, so many new friends to make. Laura took his hand without hesitation, her scales glowing with excitement. Lead the way, Eli Carter of Earth, or shall I say, Eli Carter of the cosmos. As the assembled group prepared to step into this brave new universe, Ellie's voice echoed with a promise and a challenge. The stars are no longer our limit. They're just the beginning. And with that, humanity took its first steps into a future brighter and more fantastic than anyone could have imagined. The quantum renaissance had begun, and with it, a new chapter in the cosmic story, one where the power of human ingenuity and compassion would help shape the very fabric of reality itself. As news of Earth's transformation spread across the galaxy, beings of all species turned their eyes to this small blue planet, eager to learn from and collaborate with the species that had brought about such a monumental change. Humanity, once considered primitive by galactic standards, was now at the forefront of a universal awakening. And at the heart of it all was Eli Carter, no longer just a boy, but a living embodiment of quantum potential, a bridge between what was and what could be. His journey from outcast to cosmic keystone served as an inspiration to countless beings across the universe, a testament to the power of kindness, curiosity, and the indomitable human spirit. The story of Eli Carter and the quantum renaissance would be told and retold across countless worlds for eons to come, a shining example of how one small act of compassion could spark a transformation that would reshape the very fabric of reality itself.